Hello, everyone. Welcome to LAC 1. It is Monday, May 2nd. And today we are working in Unit 5, Lesson 3, A Midsummer Night's Dream A. Our warm-up. Have you ever liked someone, but they liked someone else instead? Or has anyone ever liked you, but you liked someone else instead? Put an emoji in chat if you have ever been in either of these situations. All right, so both of these situations you might be able to relate to. You might have experienced one or both of those circumstances in your life before, or know someone else who has. Both of these situations are in the story, A Midsummer Night's Dream. So we will see and talk about those in the play. Here's our calendar for this week in LAC 1. This week is Reading Plus week 12 in the grade book. Monday, today, the 2nd, we are starting Unit 5, Lesson 3, and we are going to read Act 1 today. Tuesday, tomorrow, the 3rd, we are off, no school for a holiday. And then Wednesday, the 4th, we will finish up Lesson 3. We're going to discuss and view Act 1. Thursday and Friday, the 5th and the 6th, we are going to be working on our Unit 5 TDA 4 for A Midsummer Night's Dream. We'll have work days for that assignment. You're going to start working on the TDA 4 assignment on Thursday the 5th, and we will finish and you'll submit that TDA 4 assignment on Friday the 6th. This TDA 4 is due Friday the 6th. All right, so Unit 5, Lesson 5.03. By the end of the 5.03 lesson, students will be able to use context clues and reference materials to read and understand Shakespeare's language, identify how Shakespeare structured his play's plot to develop meaning and comedic effect, and describe how Shakespeare mastered the craft of drama to captivate audiences and express themes. Our essential questions: how can we use context clues and reference materials to read and understand Shakespeare's language? How did Shakespeare structure his play's plot to develop meaning and comedic effect? And how did Shakespeare master the craft of drama to captivate audiences and express themes? Today's plan is Unit 5. We're going to start working in 5.03, Midsummer Night's Dream A, which is all about Act 1. This is due Wednesday, May 4th, and there's 2 parts, learn and practice. For our guided lesson, we're going to go over most of the learn part of the online lesson together, and then for independent work time, you'll finish learn and you'll complete practice. All right, here is our author, our playwright, William Shakespeare. He lived from 1564 to 1616. Shakespeare was born in Stratford upon Avon, a town on the Avon River in England. His father was a glove maker and later became a high-ranking civil servant in the town. By the early 1590s, Shakespeare was an actor and playwright working with a group of performers called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. The Earl of Southampton was so impressed by Shakespeare's work that he became Shakespeare's patron. This support allowed Shakespeare to devote his time to writing. And A Midsummer Night's Dream is one of Shakespeare's best-loved comedies. It was first performed in the late 1590s. So A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. Why are Shakespeare's works still read today? Shakespeare's plays capture what it is to be a human being. His genius lies in finding words and phrases to express universal experiences, which is why audiences, both then and now, can relate to his poems and plays. How is reading a play different from reading a story? A play is written to be performed. When you read it, you need to pay attention to the stage directions, the notes, usually in italics, that identify how the actors are supposed to move. Try imagining what the actors would be doing on stage. What reading strategies can help you understand this text? Shakespeare's language can be tricky. Give yourself time to stop and reread. Pay attention to any footnotes or translations that appear in your version of the text. Start with the words you do recognize and use those to help you figure out any unfamiliar words. So our key ideas: A Midsummer Night's Dream is a play by William Shakespeare. It tells the story of several different pairs of lovers. Some of them get lost in the woods on a summer night. Fairies play tricks on them. It is one of Shakespeare's best-known comedies. So get ready to learn about Shakespeare's language. All right, Shakespeare's language. Shakespeare wrote his plays hundreds of years ago. The language he used is very different from English as we use it today. Notice these elements of language when you read Shakespeare. He uses unfamiliar pronouns. A pronoun is a word used in place of a noun, such as me or you. Shakespeare used some pronouns that aren't used much today. Words such as thee, thou, thy, or thine mean you or your. For example, thy face refers to your face. He used combined words. Shakespeare combined words in different ways. For example, in Act 1, Scene 1, Theseus says, methinks. That is two common words combined, me and thinks. Methinks is another way of saying I think, as in methinks there is a lot of homework in math. So I think, right, there is a lot of homework in math. And then he uses unusual contractions. Much of this play is written in verse as poetry. So Shakespeare fits his words into a rhythm. To accomplish this, he makes up contractions and shortens words. You know contractions like don't or wasn't, where two words are put together and a letter is removed. Do not equals don't, and so on and so forth. In some of Shakespeare's contractions, the E is removed from the ed ending of a verb. For example, in Act 1, Scene 1, Theseus uses the word wooed, which means persuaded to fall in love and or get married. He says wooed instead of wooed, W-O-O''D instead of W-O-O-E-D. The meaning is the same, but it's spelled differently. Okay, so you'll see all of these in Shakespeare's language in our play. Unfamiliar pronouns, combined words, and unusual contractions. Here is our cast of characters. We have Theseus, Duke of Athens, engaged to Hippolyta. Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, engaged to Theseus. Aegeus, father of Hermia, wants her to marry Demetrius. Hermia is in love with Lysander. Lysander is in love with Hermia, but enchanted to fall in love with Helena. Demetrius, also in love with Hermia and enchanted to fall in love with Helena. Oh my, you can see some things there that could cause confusion and comedy, right? Helena, Hermia's best friend, in love with Demetrius. Oberon is the fairy king, married to Titania. Titania, the fairy queen, married to Oberon. Puck, he has several names. Puck is also known as Robin Longfellow. I think that's his name. The fairy who enchants Lysander and Demetrius. Peter Quince is putting on a play for Theseus, the story of Pyramus and Thisbe. Nick Bottom plays Pyramus, a young man in Quince's performance. Frances Flute plays Thisbe, a young girl in Quince's performance. Robin Starveling plays the moon in Quince's performance. Tom Snout plays a wall in Quince's performance. And Snug, sometimes referred to as Snug the Joiner, plays a lion in Quince's performance. You can reference these cast of characters in this website here. Also in that website, you'll see this character map. Okay, we have all of the main characters and who they are and what they do, and also how they are connected with these arrows to all of the other characters in the play. So you can use this graphic here to the character map to keep track of who is who in the story. Okay, and here's another just picture of our cast of characters there. All right, the love triangle or square in A Midsummer Night's Dream Act 1. We have Lysander, Demetrius, the two guys, and we have Hermia and Helena, the two girls. So you can see kind of the love triangles, more like a love square there. So Hermia and Helena are best friends. Helena loves Demetrius, but Demetrius does not love Helena and only wants to marry Hermia, which Hermia's father Aegeus approves of. And Hermia and Lysander love and want to marry each other. Okay. So I know that's a little bit confusing, but that's the point of creating confusion and comedy in the story. So Aegeus, who is the father of Hermia, wants her to marry Demetrius, right? But Hermia does not want to marry Demetrius. Hermia is in love with Lysander. Lysander is in love with Hermia. They want to get married. Okay. Demetrius is also in love with Hermia. But Helena, who is Hermia's best friend, is in love with Demetrius. And Demetrius doesn't want anything to do with Helena. So, oh my. All right. Let's read A Midsummer Night's Dream Act 1. All right. You're going to use No Fear Shakespeare, which has the original text on the one side and the modern text on the other side. So you can read the original text first and then the modern text, or you can read the modern text first and then the original text. It doesn't matter which order you read them in, but I would suggest that you read both versions. Okay. The original text so that you can get used to reading Shakespeare and learn how to kind of mentally translate his language and understand it. The modern text, so that if you struggle with understanding Shakespeare's language, you can understand what's going on in the story. Okay, so we start out with Act 1, Scene 1, and then we keep going here. Act 1, Scene 1. Okay. And so on and so forth. Then you're going to continue and read Act 1, Scene 2. And you'll read all of this. Oh, so Act 1 isn't there. So you'll read all of Act 1, Scene 2, Act 1, Scene 1, and Act 1, Scene 2, and then you'll stop when you get to Act 2, Scene 1. All right, so you can listen to the audiobook, okay, for all of Act 1, Scene 1 and Act 1, Scene 2. Okay, when you're done with that, you'll go into the online course, Unit 5, Lesson 5.03. You can finish reading or listening to A Midsummer Night's Dream Act 1, and then complete, learn, and practice. All right, and we will continue working in this lesson on Wednesday. When you're done with that, you can complete a lesson in Reading Plus and use the Unit 5 help video to help you find the lesson if you need to. All right, so today's tasks and homework. Unit 5, Lesson 3, finish reading all of Act 1 of the play and complete, learn, and practice. All right, happy Monday. Wishing you a wonderful week.